This week, Caritas has a new president and a new focus for the future. El Salvador prepares for the beatification of Oscar Romero, and long-standing allegations about Jorge Bergoglio's actions during Argentina's dirty war are discredited. Hello and welcome to this edition of Vatican Connections. We are approaching one of the most anticipated beatifications, and we'll have more on that coming up shortly. But first, Caritas International, the Church's confederation of aid agencies, wrapped up its General Assembly electing a new president and adopting a new patron saint. Cardinal Oscar Rodriguez Maradiaga ended his term as president and handed over the Caritas flag to Cardinal Luis Tagle of Manila, who was elected during the assembly. Caritas members also decided that Oscar Romero will be the organization's patron saint. We'll have more details on what went on during the assembly later in the program when we talk to Michel Roy, the Secretary General of Caritas Internationalis. Now, speaking of Oscar Romero, we've learned that the official liturgical feast day for Romero will be March 24th. There was reportedly some hesitation over the date because it is the date that he was killed, but many years it conflicts with the dates for Easter. It was eventually decided to stay with March 24th as his feast. Now, the much anticipated beatification happens in El Salvador May 23rd. Officials expect more than 250,000 people to attend, including 12 heads of state. CNS brings us this look at why the soon-to-be blessed resonates with so many Catholics.
As Salvadorans prepare for the May 23rd beatification of martyred Archbishop Oscar Romero, Catholic parishioners throughout the world consider what makes the murdered prelate from El Salvador important to them in their parishes. Many parishioners at the Shrine of the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Washington have been beaming with pride since Pope Francis announced he was making this crucial step in the sainthood cause for Archbishop Romero.
Most of the parishioners that we serve, over 50% of them are Hispanic, and over 50%, if not 60% of them that are in this parish, they're from El Salvador. So a lot of them have either known of Monsignor Romero, a number of them even knew him personally when they lived. To many of them, Romero was someone they knew about when they were in El Salvador. Romero, when they came abroad, has become to them someone not only that they know, but someone that they can experience and live by.
Primarily, he's appealing for our parish, not only because we have people from El Salvador, but also because we have people that are really concerned with justice and with the aspect of Catholic social teaching that it focuses on the poor, the importance of fighting for the rights of the oppressed, and really standing up against forces that are looking to keep people either in suffering or in poverty. And I think that that's why he's such an important symbol to so many people in our parish.
The faith community of Sacred Heart is so devoted to the legacy of the Archbishop murdered in 1980 that when it came time to name the new chapter of the Knights of Columbus attached to their parish, they named it for Archbishop Romero.
The Knights originated as an organization to help Catholic immigrant families, and Oscar Romero's mission was with the poor, to help them. So we see it as a connection to carry out both of our missions.
Our church has left us such a beautiful legacy that are like stepping blocks or examples of faith for us to follow. And it's incredible how the life of many people have changed when they do have someone that they say, yeah, this is a saint. This is a model that the church has officially said that is someone from whom we can learn and study.
The current Archbishop of San Salvador told media that 500 other possible cases of martyrdom are being examined, including that of the Jesuit priest Rutilio Grande, who was a close friend of Oscar Romero. And Rome is abuzz with talk of another possible canonization as part of the Jubilee year for mercy. Now, a couple weeks ago, the Pontifical Council for the New Evangelization unveiled preliminary plans for Jubilee year events. There was no talk of any canonizations at that press conference, but Italian media reported this week that Archbishop Rino Fisichella, the head of the council, told Rome city officials that Mother Teresa would be canonized September 2016 and they should prepare logistically. The Vatican was quick to address the reports. Vatican spokesperson Father Federico Lombardi issued a statement saying it is a working hypothesis, therefore there is no official confirmation to be given. He added that the cause for her canonization is still ongoing and any speculation about a canonization date is premature. On a different note, when Pope Francis was first elected to lead the Church, reports surfaced that during Argentina's dirty war, Jorge Bergoglio had been complicit with the military regime. Now those reports have been knocked down. It turns out the journalist who reported the allegations was himself collaborating with the military government. Orazio Verbitsky reported often and loudly that when Bergoglio was Jesuit provincial in Argentina, he turned in 2 of his priests to the military regime. They were kidnapped, tortured, and eventually released. Now, the allegations were discredited in 2013 when one of the 2 priests came forward to say that Bergoglio was actually the reason they were released. Now we know why Verbitsky fabricated those allegations. Journalists in Argentina have uncovered documents showing that Verbitsky worked for the state's Aeronautical Institute between 1978 and 1982, when the military was in power. Documents also revealed he had a close relationship with a retired but very influential military officer, and he wrote speeches for various military officials. This also explains why Verbitsky himself did not disappear during the Dirty War. He was actually part of the guerrilla movement's intelligence branch and would have been disappeared. His collaboration with the military ended right after Argentina's defeat in the Malvinas, or the Falkland Islands, and Verbitsky started appearing in print as a reporter in the 1990s. Now, the full report was published on the Argentine news site Plaza de Mayo, which focuses on uncovering the truth behind events linked to Argentina's dirty war. Caritas Internationalis is a confederation of church-run aid agencies around the world. This week, Caritas wrapped up its General Assembly, during which a new president was elected and a patron saint was adopted. Michel Roy is the Secretary General of Caritas International, and he joins us from Rome to talk about the outcome of this assembly. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Roy. 2 big things happened. You elected a new president, a clerical head of Caritas, and a new patron saint was adopted. Can you tell us about that?
Members were invited to make nominations, and Caritas Asia and then other Caritases nominated Cardinal Tagle as a candidate for presidency, which he accepted, and so he's been elected. He is the first Asian president of Caritas Internationalis. He was the Bishop of Imus before being the Archbishop of Manila. Has been very active in promoting social pastoral work and the place, the role of the poorest in the communities. As for Monsignor Oscar Romero becoming a saint patron for Caritas Internationalis, at the time of Monsignor Romero, Caritas was quite assistential, but he helped develop it into a more promotion-oriented Caritas. And his conversion from being mainly focused on liturgy and sacraments to engaging with the people who are the people of God is of inspiration for many Caritases around the world. So Cardinal Maradiaga, our former president, he is in San Salvador for the beatification and will read a declaration that Caritas Internationalis has prepared for the beatification of Blessed Romero.
Now, you also discussed sustainable development goals as part of this assembly. Can you tell us what those are and how those will guide Caritas in the next few years?
Caritas is a private organization. It is church. We do not belong to any government anywhere. But we feel that these sustainable development goals, which have been prepared on the basis of the weaknesses of the Millennium Development Goals, especially in terms of methodology, was MDGs were very much top-down. This time we have a much more bottom-up approach. And we feel we have to engage into helping the international community in realizing these goals. The purpose is to try to end extreme poverty. About 15% of the world people now live in extreme poverty, not poverty, but extreme poverty. That's too many. And we discussed in the General Assembly the growing inequalities in the world and how that impedes people to develop themselves with their families and their communities. We discussed the impact of climate change on development also. Climate change has major effects on food security in many parts of the world. This is the result of a development model which is ours for a number of decades now, which is exploiting the earth. So there is a lot of issue around caring for creation, which was the title of our General Assembly, One Human Family Caring for Creation. We have to take care not only of people, but also of nature.
So one of the things that we've heard quite a bit about over the last year is your campaign to end hunger. What developments have there been on that front?
We chose to work on hunger because it is one of the most scandalous realities of our world today, when more than 800 million of people out of 7 billion. So it's too many suffer from hunger, don't eat 3 times a day, and some die of hunger. And not only in extreme situations, also in situations that could or should be normal ones. So we believe that we can end extreme hunger by 2025. We are even preceding the Sustainable Development Goal on this issue. But why do we believe we can make a real change there? It's out of the experience of so many Caritas at the grassroots with family farmers, smallholder farmers, that if they are trained and supported and being put into, related one to the other in cooperatives or kind of associations, can really make a change. But for this to happen, you need agricultural policies, national agricultural policies, and you need international support so that this will happen. The present World Trade Organization rules do not facilitate small family farming, for instance, because without any tariff barriers over basic products, it's on the market, it will be cheaper to buy chicken wings coming from the north in the south than to produce chicken locally. So people are ready to produce food for themselves and their communities and also beyond. We also have to struggle against food waste. 1/3 of the food produced in the world is wasted, not only in our plates in the north, but also because it cannot be kept properly in the south before being commercialized. So there are still a lot of challenges, but we are on the way, and everybody can and must participate in this. It's a fundamental, you can't live if you don't eat. And this is a challenge for too many people today.
Wonderful. Thank you for speaking to us, Mr. Roy.
Thank you so much.
Time to take a look at what Pope Francis has been doing this week. Over the weekend, Pope Francis met with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. The two leaders spoke about the progress made on the agreement between the Holy See and Palestine on the life of the Church in that country. They also spoke about the peace process with Israel and expressed the hope that negotiations will resume soon, and they spoke of the need to combat terrorism in the Middle East. On Sunday, Pope Francis canonized 4 nuns, 2 of them Palestinians. CNS has more.
Beatas Ioanna Emilian de Villeneuve, Maria Cristinam ab Immacolata Concezione, Mariam Alfonsinam Danil Gatas, et Mariam a Iesu Crucifixo Baguardi.
Rimanere in Dio e nel suo amore per annunziare con la parola e con la vita la risurrezione di Gesù, testimoniando l'unità fra di noi e la carità verso tutti. Questo hanno fatto le 4 sante oggi proclamate.
Ego dedok αυτής τον λόγον σου και ο κόσμος εμίσεις εν αυτούς.
Suor Maria Baudry, che umile e illetterata sappe dare consigli e spiegazioni teologiche con estrema chiarezza, la docilità allo Spirito Santo l'ha resa anche strumento di incontro e di comunione con il mondo musulmano. Così pure Sor Maria Alfonsina Danil Gatas ha ben compreso che cosa significa irradiare l'amore di Dio nell'apostolato, diventando testimone di mitezza e di unità.
On Monday, the Pope met with the heads of Vatican dicasteries and departments. Now, according to the Vatican, the purpose of the meeting was to discuss the upcoming Jubilee year for mercy. And as Bishop of Rome, the Pope is part of the Italian Episcopal Conference. The conference met on Tuesday, and Pope Francis opened the meeting addressing the Italian bishops about their role and their duties when it comes to lay people. CNS has details.
La gioia del Vangelo in questo momento storico dove spesso siamo accerchiati da notizie sconfortanti che ci fanno sperimentare afflizione e tribolazione. La nostra vocazione cristiana ed episcopale è quella di andare controcorrente, ossia di essere testimoni gioiosi del Cristo risorto per trasmettere gioia e speranza agli altri. È assai brutto incontrare un consacrato abbattuto, demotivato o spento. Egli è come un pozzo secco dove la gente non trova acqua per dissetarsi. E ho notato l'importanza di quello che si può definire la sensibilità ecclesiale, ossia appropriarsi degli stessi sentimenti di Cristo, di umiltà, di compassione, di misericordia, di concretezza. La carità di Cristo è concreta e di saggezza. La sensibilità ecclesiale e pastorale si concretizza anche nel rinforzare l'indispensabile ruolo di laici disposti a assumersi le responsabilità che a loro competono. In realtà i laici che hanno una formazione cristiana autentica non dovrebbero aver bisogno del vescovo pilota o del monsignore pilota o di un input clericale per assumersi le proprie responsabilità a tutti i livelli, da quello politico a quello sociale, da quello economico a quello legislativo. Hanno invece tutti la necessità del vescovo pastore.
Wednesday was the general audience, as usual, and Pope Francis continued his series of catechesis on the family. This week he focused on the difficult situations that families face, which is everything from separated parents to misbehaving children, and he shared one of his own hard-learned lessons.
Io una volta, quando ero a quarta elementare, ho detto una brutta parola alla maestra. E la maestra, una buona donna, ha fatto chiamare mia mamma. Mia mamma è venuta il giorno dopo, hanno parlato fra loro e poi sono stato chiamato. E mia mamma, davanti alla maestra, mi ha spiegato che quello che io ho fatto era una cosa brutta, che non si doveva fare, ma con tanta dolcezza l'ha fatta la mamma e mi ha chiesto di chiedere perdono davanti a lei, alla maestra. Io l'ho fatto e poi sono rimasto contento, perché insomma, è finita bene la storia. Ma quello era il primo capitolo. Quando sono tornato a casa, incominciò il secondo capitolo. Immaginatevi voi, Oggi la maestra fa una cosa del genere, il giorno dopo ho due genitori, uno dei due, a rimproverare la maestra, perché i tecnici dicono che ai bambini non si deve rimproverare così. Sono cambiate le cose. I genitori non devono autoescludersi dall'educazione dei figli.
He also spoke about separated parents and said they must take care never to take the children hostage by speaking badly about their former or estranged spouse to their children. He said, "You have separated because of various difficulties and reasons. Life has given you this trial, but children should never bear the weight of the separation. They should grow up hearing their mother speak well of their father, and vice versa." On Thursday, Pope Francis met and accepted the credentials of a group of non-resident ambassadors to the Holy See. And of course, on Sunday, he was set to celebrate Mass for the Feast of Pentecost. Let's take a look at the nominations and resignations that happened around the church this week. Brooklyn, New York, has two new auxiliary bishops. They are Father James Massa and Father Witold Mrozewski. Father Massa is originally from New Jersey. Now, he has served as professor and chaplain at various colleges. Most recently, he has been a professor at Dunwoody Seminary in New York and moderator of the Curia for the Diocese of Brooklyn. Meanwhile, Father Mrozewski was originally from Poland. After his ordination, he was sent to the United States to serve the Polish community. He has a doctorate in canon law, and aside from serving as pastor in various parishes, he's also served as promoter of justice and defender of the bond for various diocesan tribunals. Vatican Connections is interactive. We answer your questions and explain things you want to know. You can reach us on Twitter at Vaticonnections or by email at info@saltandlighttv.org. We'll try our best to answer your questions during this part of our show. Well, that's it for this edition of Vatican Connections. Join us again next time for more about what's going on at the heart of the Church. Until then, of course, follow us on Twitter or check our blog for regular updates. And of course, you can watch us on demand on Roku TV. For everyone here, thanks for watching and see you next time.